All right, guys. So now we're going to, all right, thank you so much, John. So you all, what I was saying was, does that look familiar? You trying to speak and you being interrupted by someone in your class? If that does, you might be dealing with what's called a takeover person. We're going to talk about how to handle class disruptions. My name is Jay Bryan. I'm a learner engagement specialist and corporate trainer. You all, and my natural personality is I'm very laid back, very laid back. Um, don't always want to address problems directly. I found that in my classes, oftentimes what would happen was I would start teaching and my class would get derailed by even a simple side conversation. And it was hard to get it back on track. Oftentimes, this would start with maybe one or two people who would continuously interrupt, add their input, and even try to take over the class. Not necessarily intentionally, but they would do it. So I call these people takeover people. Now, that's not the technical name. I just call them takeover people. If you have a takeover personality in your class that tends to be interrupting and things like that, let's talk about how to deal with those class disruptions that a takeover person can cause. A few years ago, I went to a comedy show, and after the comedy show, we all went to this other place and just hung out. It was me and my wife and some other friends of mine. So we were there, and we ended up seeing one of the comedians there, and we got to talking to one of the comedians from the show, and we were just talking and chatting, and he said, uh, he said, and there had been a distraction during the show, someone that came in late or something like that, and the comedian that handled it beautifully. So I asked him, just this wasn't trying to find out about learner engagement. I just asked him, like, hey man, how'd you know to handle that situation like that? And he said, he's like, well, when you're doing a show or when you're presenting something and a distraction happens, you need to address it immediately, right then and there. So that person coming in late, you need to address that and add it into your show. When you address it as the performer and then add it into your show, you then keep control of the show. And that resonated with me. And from then on out, I wasn't always successful with applying this, but over time, I became very good at it. In fact, it literally changed how I was able to manage my classroom as a corporate trainer. It changed how I was able to handle takeover people. So when you have a takeover people, manage the distraction, do what I call a catch and release. Manage the distraction, add it into your class, and keep it moving. That's how you keep control. So here's how the catch and release works for dealing with takeover people. The person interrupts. You say, "John, I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you so much." And I actually wanted to point out something similar to that, such and such, and you continue on with the material. Now, the catch part is you jumping in and you addressing what John or that whatever the takeover person's name is just said. That's the catch. Whoever is speaking has control. Period. Whoever is speaking has control. So when you say, John, I appreciate your opinion on that, I was actually going to speak on something similar to that in the next slide. And you keep on going, that is called the release because you catch what they're talking about, you discuss it a little bit, and then you release it and continue on moving with your material. This has worked wonders for me because the takeover person feels acknowledged. They don't feel like you said, hey, be quiet. Now, if that's your thing to say, hey, be quiet, go for it. But the catch and release technique is amazing, I found, for dealing with those takeover personalities and really handling all kinds of class disruptions. So again, I'm Jay Bryan. I'm a learner engagement specialist. If you need help with your team managing your classroom, if you need help learning how to keep the learner engagement high through classroom disruption, how to handle those, if your team needs to work on that, please reach out to me and book me. My email is info@jbryanspeaks.com. Again, that's info at jbrianspeaks.com. Y'all have a great one. Peace.